The Black Lake State Forest Campground is located in Michigan's Lower Peninsula, way up at the top near Sheboygan, and it is on Black Lake. Black Lake is pretty popular with fishermen for northern pike and muskie. It's not super often you find muskie lakes in the area, at least not in the Lower Peninsula. There's not a ton. So this lake is one destination if you want to go muskie fishing. In the campground, I found this huge cement slab. I don't know if it used to be a basketball court or what it was, but it is a big cement slab for kids to probably play around and have fun on. I don't know if they want you drawn with chalk on it, but it's still there at the back of the upper part of the campground. Now, I say the upper part of the campground because this campground is divided into two units. There is the upper unit and there's the lower unit. Currently, I'm walking through the upper unit showing you the campsites. There's a whole bunch of them up here, and they're all really nice and big campsites, as you can see here. You got your fire rings and your picnic tables, your typical state forest campground, except this is a really large state forest campground. Plenty big enough in almost every site for very large RVs, back-in trailers, motorhomes, whatever you're bringing up here can probably fit in these sites. I'm surprised they actually don't have cement pads to back into because they're so large. You can see as I go around, I'm parked in that spot, and there's room for like half a dozen other vehicles, plus mine. This may have been designed on purpose because the upper unit is actually considered an ORV campground, as there's ORV trails right here very nearby, and ORVs are allowed to drive through and be off trailers on the upper unit. You can come and go as you please on your off-road vehicles and ATVs, and that's only in the upper unit. It's actually illegal in the lower unit to even have them off the trailer. The lower unit is more designed to be a typical state forest campground that's nice and quiet and right along the lakeside. You can see in the video all of the bugs. There are biting flies like crazy up here right now. It's mid-June, and from what I'm guessing, I can't imagine they get any better later in the summer. The outhouses at this campground are really well maintained, no odor coming from them at all, but the bugs are the main thing, and there is a very strong odor. It's actually coming from the dumpster right by the registration station, and it's pretty horrible. I actually questioned whether I should call because there's something dead in it or not. The smell lingers for several campsites away. I couldn't believe it. It was very hard to stomach. At the beginning of the video, you saw a sign that had a warning for poison ivy at the pay station, and there is poison ivy absolutely everywhere in this campground. That's everything that you see that's green that's not a pine tree. It's actually poison ivy all over the place. I was very hesitant to even go down these steps to the lower unit, but I wanted to walk down the steps and take a look and see what it was like, and that was before I even realized there's a lower unit here. Part of the campground drive actually loops around to the left and goes to the lower unit where you can pull your boat up, put your boat in. There's a small dock there, and you can actually camp right along the side of the water. Like I said, down here on the lower unit, you have several different options for camping along the side of the water. These spots right here are not campsites. They're actually part of a small recreation area where you can just pull up and picnic along the water. Most of the campground on the lower unit also is protected by a small seawall, but there's plenty of options to walk past the seawall and get down to the beach area. You can see the cute little geese here swimming with the little babies, so you can tell if the geese are hanging out here, it's probably a pretty safe area. And the whole thing is nothing but sandy beach, with a few exceptions of some boulders that stick out a little ways there that you can see. It's actually really nice, and it's a really beautiful day, and to my surprise, there's nobody fishing. There's a kayaker way out there that's kayaking around the area, but that's it. Nobody swimming, nobody fishing that I could see. I don't know why. It's mid-June, and it's great weather for that. As we go here through the campsites, you can see there's mostly campsites on the left. As we walk farther up, you're going to see a few on the right-hand side, but most of them really are lakeside sites. These are smaller campsites, not designed to have a great big trailer backed into them necessarily that's going to hold your ORVs on them. There's a separate pay station here, and it's really neat. You also can get park passes here. So if you don't have your stickers on the back of your vehicle, or if you want to pay with a card, you can pay here, except it's out of order. I've never actually seen one of these before. It had a really loud hum to it, and that's what drew my attention to it. Never have I seen any of these at a state park campground or at a state forest campground. Continuing along here, you can see most of the campsites again. They're on Lakeside, which is the left-hand side. And there's a nice little breeze coming off the lake right now, but nothing so dramatic that it makes me think it's going to be an issue at night for sleeping or make me too cold if I threw my tent up along the water here. And you can see each of these sites also has a fire ring and a picnic table. It would be a really cute spot to throw a tent up, or maybe a small pop-up camper for most of these. You might struggle to get medium-sized trailers backed into most of these sites until we get a little farther down the trail and road here. Something interesting about this lower unit, I don't know if you've noticed or not in the video, but there's way less bugs. There's a lot of bugs on the upper unit, and there's just not so many down low here. This is one of our first campsites that is not lakeside. You still have a great lake view, but you are not lakeside, and that's site number 7. You can see another one coming up here a little bit farther. But most of the campsites down here are lakeside, and it's super crazy because most of them don't have anybody in them. And again, it's mid-June. Overall, this is a really great campground, and it just shocks me at how few people are here. I'm going to guess later on in the summer, come July and August, these campsites just get packed full with people. Regardless of how full it is and how great this campground is, it's still only 20 bucks a night to camp here. And it's on a great lake and a great destination area up near the bridge, not too far from all kinds of things to do. Now you can see down here a little bit farther, I get closer to the other end, there's actually a water spigot. You don't find water spigots that often at just regular state forest campgrounds, but we do have a water spigot, and it takes a little bit of turning, but there's actually water, so that's great. There's also hand pumps at the upper part and another hand pump back farther, so you can pump the water if you want. Farther down, closer to the end of this campground in the lower unit, there's a couple more people here, and I'm gonna imagine this side fills up first because it's closer to the boat launch area, and probably a lot of people are coming here to fish, especially musky fish. Again, there's just not a ton of lakes in the area that have muskie in them. But keep looking around here. These campsites are just great campsites that back right up to the woods. There's one or two here that might back up to somebody's cabin that's probably hardly ever used. I'm back where I started at the very beginning of the lower unit, and that's where the boat launch is. And I'm going to walk down and we'll take a look at the boat launch. It does have a cement pad, and it doesn't have a massive parking area, but there is some signage there for rules and regulations. There's some more signage over here about rules and regulations, and it's just your typical boat launch and your typical boat launch dock. Nothing super special about it. You back out onto more sand. I don't know if the whole thing is a great sandy beach all the way around the lake, or if we just got lucky and it's here at the campground, but there's an awful lot of sand. Overall, this is a great campground, and I can totally see myself coming back here with our boat and doing some muskie fishing out here on this awesome little lake that's in Michigan's northern part of the lower peninsula.